If we could, we'll call the monthly meeting of the EMS and EMA departments to order. And first thing we'll do, since I forgot it last month, is have the roll call. Commissioner Stubblefield.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here to be there.
Commissioner Spain.
Here.
Commissioner Eden here. Is that everybody?
That's correct.
I declare a quorum is 4 present and 1 absent, and we'll start the meeting. If we could move right into the EMA report,
Yes,
like
sir.
we always do.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Well, for the February 19th through March the 19th, we ran 10 motor vehicle accidents throughout the county and interstate. We ran 8 commercial vehicle crashes. All were on I-65, 4 of which called for hazard mitigation. We had 4 structure fires in the county. Here you go, Stacy.
Thank you.
Correct those minutes.
We had 4 structure fires in the county. All 4 structure fires did require the use of Red Cross. We had 3 illegal burns, 2 of which we used TDEC to come in and do some fines. You know, they come in and they cited the homeowners for doing illegal burns. One of them was not the case. And then we had 1 swift water rescue call during the night that we had all the rain that came in March. It was down there on is in Pleasant View zone. It was on New Chapel Road down there in the bottom. It was a 17-year-old female and a 14-year-old female had drove through the water. Car flooded out. The 14-year-old got on top of the car. The homeowners noticed it, what was going on, so they called the fire department. We all went down there and done a swift water rescue. So it went well. We've had our 911 meeting. Our special ops team, we have search and rescue dogs on our team. So they spent one of the Saturdays this month doing 8 hours of training with the dogs out at Travis Price Park. We've had our Homeland Security meeting, and then our hazard mitigation plan for the county is finally approved by FEMA. So it is now a living, working document for the county that you guys voted on 3 months ago. Y'all voted on it as a commission and, of course, as a committee. And FEMA has finally approved it, and it's an official document for the county for all municipalities. So that's my report, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have a question or a comment for Chance? One comment here, and maybe it's a question. On those illegal burns, What was illegal about them? Was he in the city limits, didn't have a permit? Or
No, sir. They were burning like plastics, rubber, shingles, burning stuff that's illegal to burn. Not just normal wood or cotton or linen or something that's of normal construction, but illegal stuff that produces hydrocarbon smoke.
Well, you said you called
TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. Yes,
did they
sir.
come out here? Or
Yes,
they just,
sir. No, they'll send out a representative
Really?
to the residents. So yes, sir. And sometimes they'll just counsel them as far as, hey, this is your first offense.
Don't do it no more.
Don't do it no more. Then some of them, that's not their first offense, and they'll cite them. So sometimes they'll just do a counseling. It just depends. But most of the time, that's what I do with all the volunteer fire departments now, is I'll have them forward me photos. I'll have them forward me the fire report, whatever they can. And sometimes they'll actually request me to come on site. So it just depends on how it works. Or, just it's a case-by-case basis. But I do turn all of the illegal burns in to TDEC. Burn permit or no burn permit. In the city or in the county. It's just wherever I'm needed at.
Right.
So are we still under a burn ban?
Sir? No, sir, we're not under a burn ban.
Just got a permit.
Yeah, you gotta have a permit. Sorry, you gotta have a permit, but we're not under a ban.
Through Bay, right? Yeah.
Where you call the state, you call the 800 number.
Yeah.
Yeah, forestry divisions, the one that site give you one.
Okay, thank you, Chance. Anybody else?
Appreciate all the work you did on the proposed plan.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, a lot of work went into that. And we're currently working on the basic emergency operation plan. It's the BEOP, and we're a little ways out before it becomes to the committee and before it goes to the commission. But that's another document that we're working on.
Appreciate Because I knew it took a lot of
Hey, yo, yes, ma'am. It does take time and several people to make it happen, but thank you so much, Ms. Faye.
Well, the truth is, they are important. Now, it is red tape, but they are important, and I would imagine, under the right audit or the right condition, that would be one of the first things somebody would want to see.
Yes, sir.
If there's no more questions, then we'll entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Commissioner Stubblefield, second.
Second.
Commissioner Wilson, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It's nice to have everybody here, by the way. Let's move right into the EMS report.
All right, so as you can see in front of you, we had 917 calls for service this month, with 563 of those being billable. So we're a little bit busier than last month. We had 62 interfacility transfers coming out of Northcrest, so from Northcrest to another hospital down in Nashville. 83 zone coverage standbys, so 83 times our truck was covering a different part of the county while people were on calls. We had 5 mutual aid responses in Cheatham County. It's Cheatham or Sumner, but those were all Cheatham County. So we went and stood by while all their trucks were busy. So far to date, we're at 1,826 calls for service, so we're a little bit ahead of pace of where we were last year by about 140 calls roughly. The next section there, you can see the responses broken down by each ambulance. Of course, again, Station 1's leading the way with the most calls here in Springfield. All 3 of those trucks are pretty busy. Station 2 and 3 are neck and neck at about 108 calls, 107 calls apiece. Station 4, White House, is doing roughly as many calls as Springfield now. They're 1 truck. And Station 5 and 6 are down there, their respective numbers. So I'll let Rick talk about the collections here in a moment. Any questions of our response numbers?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have y'all seen a decline in the fire departments coming out and helping y'all, or showing up on when there's called 911 calls?
Is there anyone in particular?
I'm just talking about across the board. The calls.
City or county?
Everybody. Now, there's a big sting going around, and I know y'all already heard it. We all know who's called us. About $50 non-compliant fee is what I call it. So.
Am I the only one that don't know this?
No,
Only thing
you
about
know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sure I was,
No,
Commissioner
you're not.
Wilson.
No, you're not.
Help us.
Okay, so I received a
I'm
phone
figuring it
call.
out, but
Yes, I received a phone call, and I know the mayor has gotten a call from concerned citizen that he's received, another county commissioner that's receiving calls from the county fire departments that they are upset about the $50 non-emergent fees. That if they go on a 911 call, that's really not for them or whatever, and it's EMS, and they go to help or whatever, and it's not emergent, they're not getting any fees.
Okay, was this initiated by 911 or was this initiated by?
No, this was initiated by fire halls. Supposedly it's called a county commissioner. It'll be addressed Thursday, I'm sure, at our meeting. If you'd like to attend. Or call in. But that was my question to y'all, and if Rick.
Yeah,
if
I don't know that there's been I would say a small, probably a little decline, but not something that, I mean, Josh and I talked about this morning, from, I would say Springfield fire, maybe, I don't know, percentage-wise, trying to put a percentage on it, but what did we talk, 70?
Yeah,
70%, something like that. And depending on which of the other, rural or out, like volunteer fire departments, depending on which one it is, it's a bigger percentage than it is on some of the other places that we have. Some will get there and say they don't want to go inside the house, they'll respond, but, there's nothing, they won't go in the house. Just different variation of, what we see from a response there. So that's kind of a hard question across the board to answer. We did, I don't know, this morning, we talked about getting dispatch to give us some specifics based on, like, is it White House City? Is it Springfield City? Is it the county fire departments, what kind of response rate or what kind of, percentage can we see from those? So we don't have that quite yet. And I'm not even sure if dispatch could give us that. Did you?
Yeah,
Did you call?
I haven't gotten anything back from them yet.
Well, this was my response. EMS has their own budget. They control their own. It goes to this committee and it's voted upon. The fire department are their own entities. The county is not in the fire business. Yes, I know we are, Josh, but we are not.
But
We give donations to the fire departments and we do not set guidelines for those fire departments.
and Stacy, you're talking about the volunteer fire department.
I'm talking about all fire departments.
And they're upset
My
about,
understanding.
they're upset about the $50 charge that the EMS is charging?
Yes,
And because they're not getting any of it, or because they're responding too?
because they're responding to.
And they think that we shouldn't charge if they don't charge, or?
Well, that was a little unclear, so I told the commissioner to come Thursday night and he can address it and I'll address it with him.
And Thursday night is the fire.
Committee meeting.
4 o'clock.
Yes.
4
So-
o'clock.
That's right.
But Stacy, this, you think this, is this tied in any way with us charging extra for people that we have to go help more than once and those extra charges we're putting on there?
That's what I believe she's referring
what
to,
she's
which,
talking
to be
about. That's what
clear,
we're
we have not
referring to.
charged anybody
We
for
didn't
any of
charge
that yet.
anything.
Right.
So,
So
We
it's,
proposed
it's
the
here.
policy.
Right, exactly.
But that's as far as it's gotten so far. And, the sole attempt to this is to curb public behavior. Because we don't want to go out to, lift assist to the residents 5 times. I mean, if it's a non-medical call and it's called in, it's just a lift assist, fire department can go without us. We're fine with that. But,
Well, my thing is they are separate
of course,
entities
yeah,
from EMS. And if they feel like they need to implement a
that's
charge,
up to them.
that's entirely up to that city
Well, and I
fire
even
hall
heard-
or volunteer.
And since we're talking about it, I've even heard that maybe the fire departments need to charge EMS for responding.
Yeah, I got a call on it too.
So,
But keep going.
that's been thrown up as well. Well, we supply the medical supplies for fire. So we're trying to just recoup some money is for bad behavior on the public's behalf. If you've got somebody sliding out of bed 6 times in a month, we'll go out there in the first time and say, okay, now from now on, we need to charge you because we can't keep coming out and deploying our resource and doing this
Right.
for something that we're just coming out and doing as truly a public service or whatever. That's the intent of what we're trying to do. But if we're being abused, then yeah, we're trying to curb the behavior of doing that. That's the real intent of it. We did go and we talked to other county EMS services that do this and have done it very successfully. So there is an offset of cost there that they see from, everybody's not going to pay, but if you get anything, it's better than nothing.
Right. But my thing is, every department in this county is separate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you do your own policy, rules and regs. So don't be trying to jump on the bandwagon when somebody
Well,
else takes
so-
care of it, your own department.
So my question would be this, based on what you're saying, and you're absolutely right, how are we hurting the fire department? I mean, how are we hurting?
What, Josh, have you heard this
I haven't heard
comment?
anything about this.
I haven't either. There was a discussion in this committee about if we do something for EMS, should we add on something for the fire departments as well? So I suspect that's what an issue.
But it wasn't related to this issue, though.
No.
There was nothing tagged on to this policy related to that. If there was 100% response rate by the fire departments, maybe there's a shared number there or something, I don't know. But based on the variability of who and when and what, and, show up, and we do, because we show up every time they call. And it's not a knock against you guys. I mean, it's just, sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. Sometimes they just won't, it depends on which end of the county you are. So from that standpoint, I can't see how we run our business affects everybody else. And, from us, we're just trying to financially take care of ourselves. And if there are issues related to that do adversely affect the fire department, or any of them, I would love to hear that.
Well, they need to come to you or Josh.
That's exactly right.
Or,
Right.
But
Mr. Eaton.
the other thing
chairman of
is,
the board.
we try, through the years, and even a few months ago, we talked about during the presentation of, how we compare. One of the things that we said was that we supply most of the medical supplies to the fire departments. And that comes out of our budget. Doesn't come out of their budget. Oxygen, same thing. So if we're supplying all that, in essence, we're already helping them. So how can we not, be frowned upon, or how can we be frowned upon for trying to recoup some of that for frequent flyers or offenders that really cause us to go out and respond for nothing?
Right.
Other than just, if it's a calling us all the time, because the nurses tell us, quote, we're tired of picking him up. And then they call 911 for us to come pick him. We're going to start building the facility.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely. Because that is a staffing issue, and that's a for-profit business, and that's not what we
And we
do.
got people at home that have to have help that much, that's where they need to be at, because they can't.
Well, in those cases,
get
do you
people
call
taken care of, they
APS?
ain't able to.
It depends, it's case by case,
Okay.
not across the board.
Just tell them they need home
Now,
health.
if it's something that, there's someone there that's obviously got care issues and they can't self-care and there's nobody there, then yeah, our captains and get involved, and we do call from time to time.
So am I the only one that received that call? Mayor, did you get that call?
No, I did, but I do see,
I got a call.
Okay.
I do see that when you're calling volunteers out in the middle of the night and you haven't paid them, I don't know if there's anything wrong with a $50 minimum fee. Fire departments, whoever, I mean, because a lot of times I know they get out there and next thing you know, they want to carry the trash out, and it goes on and on and on. And I could see where a guy that got up at 3 o'clock would be like,
Well,
for $10 or what do they
but-
get?
But am I wrong to say that if that's something that they really need or want to do, then that's on them to figure it out?
Yeah, it's on them, yeah.
That's correct.
But, some people are abusing.
And at some point, it would be good to have a discussion with both sides on, is that something y'all want us to do?
I think it needs to come out of the fire committee.
I think we're doing it because we think you want us to do it.
Okay, well, and in that, I would welcome a bigger discussion about what's going to be the best thing for resource deployment all around.
But then I agree with Stacy, but these fire department, majority of them is inside the city limits, and they need to establish their own rules,
Yeah,
Now, Chad's not, but still.
well, you talk about Springfield and White House fire departments. I mean, we supply them with most, how
So they don't feel
many,
that part of it.
how many times do they come and get, gloves and
Right, but
masks
they will-
and,
We'll address it Thursday.
Yeah,
I
they
will.
don't tell that part of it,
So-
they just tell, they need more money,
Josh,
I know they
welcome you
do,
to
but,
come. You wanna come here, Rick?
Wow. I mean,
maybe we should,
like Rick was
because,
saying, we supply Springfield and White House are our biggest consumers of our medical supplies.
I think,
The way I look at it, I mean, it's no problem to supply, North Robertson, we're county, it all comes out of the same pot.
Yeah.
Those are paid professional departments. And Springfield is our number one user of medical supplies.
have you got any idea what it costs to do that every year? Somebody like.
I've got a good rough idea, but, I
We
wouldn't
might
want-
ought to firm that figure up a
Yeah, I
little
was
bit,
gonna
so
say,
we
I
know what
wouldn't
we're
want to
talking
throw
about.
it out there.
If
Starts putting, they got a budget just like we do,
Exactly.
and they'll milk it as long as we don't say nothing.
Well, and that's part of the frustration, I think, here too, is because probably the commissioner that Stacy's referring to is an employee of Springfield
No.
Fire. So, just gonna say it, so.
Well, hey, it needs to be looked into,
And
there's another thing that gets abused too.
yeah.
Everything does.
But I don't think that throwing what we're trying to do in a dim light is a very appropriate way, to get your message out there.
Well-
No, I was very
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah,
I
this
received the
conversation
call.
here's kind of went, like, it could go a lot of ways.
Yeah, right,
One thing can lead to another, to another, to another.
right.
I'm
But no,
sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine, because I knew that's been looming. But, as a matter of fact, Don called me a week or so ago.
Yeah, I got a call about it, and I basically said, that's the way it is. I can't imagine how it would hurt you, but if we did hurt you, then we'd wanna make it right.
Well, the feeling that I got was it was more of wanting a participatory involvement in whatever policy comes up here. So maybe getting money, as well, if we do implement that, or piggybacking it or something like that. But I don't mean,
Looks like to me, first and supplies, plenty, good.
that's kind of what I.
And then,
Yeah.
help them with 911 fees and all that.
Yeah, I can give them my speech that I'm desperately trying to get back to 50 cents on the dollar that I used to brag about.
Well, but
We're
trying
not
to get
there
you-
now.
We're trying to get you to.
Well, those supplies outweigh that $50.
There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing, and we did the analysis, we brought it to the committee. If we collected 100% of everything that we would have charged last year, it was $144,000. Okay? I would venture to say that our supplies that we dole out to all our fire departments are way more than that.
Absolutely.
Really?
I agree.
Why don't,
Or at least equal.
why don't you and Josh take it on yourself to firm up that number and kind of let us know what it is? Don't spend a lot of time on it, but what we would like to know what we're talking about. If we're talking about $100, it's no big deal. If it's 25,000, it might be
It's more than
another
that.
issue.
I think when you got cities fussing about the 911 fees, good figure for me to have in my head, and I said, well, what about this?
Okay.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
So from this point forward, what we'll do is anything that goes out to a fire department, we'll track it. Both city, and then Springfield, White House, and then just.
Yeah, I don't want us to change what we're doing.
No, we're not saying that.
It's just a good figure to know.
Not to say that.
Yeah.
And we have no problem, like with the county fire departments doing it. It's like it's the same bucket, like Josh said. But when it comes down to paid departments that are professional departments like that, that's a way different thing. And I have a problem with that in the way that was brought up. So.
Yes, see, my conversation didn't include Springfield and White House.
Well, it was relayed to me as fire in general in our county.
Because this meeting on Thursday is just the volunteer fire department, right?
No, it's all the chiefs. Pleasant View,
Oh, okay,
Greenbrier,
And they're in conjunction with, is it your meeting?
the
Yeah.
fire department.
Where is it?
Here,
4:00.
4:00. There is a number, if you can't make it and want to call in, you can too,
Yep.
so, but
Yeah,
I'd
no, I'll
love
try
for
to.
y'all to. We're gonna try to keep it contained, because I don't want people jumping around, but we need to.
Kind of like a fire.
Yeah.
Were you gonna talk about our new policy when you did your report?
Well, we were going to talk about it, since we distributed it after the meeting, we didn't have it physically with us last time. We sent it out afterwards to you guys, and we were going to talk about it, see if there was any discussion or anything that.
All the actual policy for, okay.
How it would be
okay, so-
implemented.
Okay, let's just wait till we get
The
there
triggers
unless
and things
anybody
like
else has got anything else right
I've
now.
got it, like,
Yeah,
put it on
okay,
the screen.
yeah, okay, good.
Okay, all
I
right.
just have another question about your report.
Yes, ma'am.
You had 83, if I can read it, because these numbers are a little around, anyway, 83 standbys
That's correct.
in February. Were just for general knowledge, were most of them I know they're in all zones, but were most of them standbys for White House, because White House is doing so much now?
I don't have that exact figure, but it's generally for, yes, it's generally for that side of the
I
county.
can tell you, in months past, that is the case. And I'm not sure about the number of this month, but in months past, it would be some months upward of half of them.
Make sure everybody knows what that is.
So when we take a
it's
truck,
certain-
let's say White House truck is going to transfer a patient out of the county,
And most of them go out of the county.
and most of them on that side go out. So when we do that, that part of the county's uncovered. So we have to send a truck to that zone, or at least to the edge of the zone, to cover that zone, so our response times stay
Right,
acceptable.
yeah.
So, now, well, yeah, and that's one of the reasons we put the third one on the street when we did here in Springfield, to be more of a go-between. And, I would say before we did anything like that, we could potentially do a power truck or something over there that, is open, during the busy times of the day or evening. And then, it's not a 24-hour ambulance, so it doesn't drag our cost down, our cost to run ratio. So that is an upcoming legit concern.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Okay. Real quick on the fleet report, so we did have a couple more than routine maintenance issues come up on some of our trucks. So one of our truck, we had a generator that needed to be replaced and a def reservoir. That was about a $1,800 repair there. Also, one of our trucks had a EGR valve that needed to be replaced. I'm not a vehicle maintenance guy, but EGR valves are very expensive.
I can tell.
Yes, so the valve itself was $2,500, so that was a $3,000 repair for that ambulance. Most of the others are all just normal maintenance, just routine oil changes, plus a couple tires, things like that. But those were the two biggies.
So the total for the month was $7,900.
Correct.
So Josh, we still got some left in our maintenance? I mean,
Yeah, we're doing okay.
I can tell you. Out of the maintenance budget, yeah. Equipment, vehicles. So we've used basically 46% of our budget for the year.
okay, that's
Through
through
eight-
February.
Through 8 periods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, we're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Everything is up.
No
and
more-
running good right now.
What was it? ERG?
EGR.
EGR.
No,
valve.
more EGR valve.
Yeah, when he called about that, I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's very, very expensive. I hope it doesn't go out on my truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Any questions about the fleet maintenance report? All right, that's all I have.
I got
All right, so for February, we ended up billing $691,746.79, and we actually ended up with 855 billable encounters. The reason it's higher than the one that Josh estimated is because some of the claims from prior month were brought over to this month, so it's always that floating, never exact. Like, Josh's probably for the month is probably more accurate, but for us, in the way it's billed, it came across as a bigger number. And based on the 855, our average charge per call was $809.06, which was up about $20 from last year. Our total collections were $191,524.10, and that was down from $204,396.35 the year before in 2020. And right now we're running right at $100,000 less in collections and for the year than we were last year. But the fact that we did have such a big February with the charges of $691,000 will probably pick up and narrow the gap in the next 30, 45 days based on this. But the volume numbers there. Our expenses were $427,465.49, and that was up from $393,640.23 from last year. Our expenses year to date are $3,833,528.22, and last year we were at $3,868,246.14. And then our expense per call for this last month was $499.96, down from $699.18. Questions about any of that?
questions?
All right. So the next page, we're tracking overtime as part of our project that's ongoing. For February, our overtime went down to $102,878.23. The reason it went down from January is because it was a short month. And so with that said, our overtime as a percent of our total wages went down from 41 to 36%. And then the total premium overtime went from 92,000 in January to 86 in February. Again, a component of being a short month, not having to pay for those other 3 shifts for 3 days. And one of the things, our premium overtime as a percent of total overtime went up to 84.3%. And the reason for that is, as you remember, we're tracking our open positions, and we went from 2 open positions in January to 4 in February, so we had to cover shifts and trucks and not shut them down, so we had to use more overtime. So really, it still goes back and corresponds like we thought it would. It was just, that was a month. Luckily, it was a shorter month, but we had 4 openings during that month, so it kind of made it a little bit odd the way that it looks and it's tracked. But next month, we filled 2 of those openings, so we'll be heading back down, and we'll only have 2 openings. Yeah, exactly.
We hope.
Exactly. For March. Now, it'll be a full 31-day month, so our overtime number would go back up. But I think what you'll see is the premium overtime is the one that we're trying to control. And we started November, December, January trending downward, but with February and the openings that we've had, that's why it trended back up a little bit. So we lost a little ground there, but we know what's driving it and what's causing it. So, obviously from that standpoint, we're able to control what you can measure and what you can see. So, again, both of the new ones have started, correct? They started today, I think.
Correct.
And so we're down to just the 2 openings. So,
Is Russell included in that 4?
No, since he's in the interim.
He's
Now,
management.
that's a good point. Really, right now, since Josh is in Russell's spot in the interim, we do have an opening that's not listed here as a crew opening. It's not related to overtime.
Right.
And that's what we're tracking.
Because a big part of your job, your old job, was training.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we do have a training officer position that's open per se, but until the final decision is made on what we do with the assistant, which I'll talk about in a minute, that's just on hold because obviously, Josh doesn't get the role, then that'll be his position. But if he does, then at that point, we'll discuss what that looks like and potentially open that up as well. Anybody have any questions about that?
Keep going.
So with that said, we did open up the assistant director's role on Indeed, Tennessee EMS, which is a Facebook page that a lot of the EMS folks in Tennessee are members of. And we put the ad out, and we left it up there roughly, it's about a month. Since basically our time here last time, we were putting it up that day. So it's been a month. We had 15 applicants during that time period. As far as the breakdown, one of the things that we said was we wanted a bachelor's degree as a minimum and preferably a master's degree. So the way it broke down, of our 15 applicants, we had 6 that had a bachelor's degree that met the minimum requirements. We do have 6 that have master's degrees that, none in the state per se. Well, I take that back. One I think is in Marable, but all of them are out of state. And then we had 3 that had a high school or GED or an associate's degree. So, based on that, we had 11 people that met the minimum criteria for that. I've got all the CVs here. So what I want to do is look at and really pare it down to probably 4 or 5. And then what I'd like to do is get you guys to, one or all of you or whatever that has interest, to at least start off with a Zoom call on these so that we don't, interview people or since they're out of state, bring them in, cost money and things like that. We just want to do a Zoom call, get to know them, see what's, how they talk, things like that. And then maybe at that point, if there are some that we feel could be good, then we could potentially bring them in for an interview. So Mayor Vogel, I'll get with you and see how you want to do it, and then with Don. And any of you guys that want to participate with that would be great. So over the next week, I'll be making contact with these guys just to set up a Zoom call for probably 4 or 5 of them. And really, at this point, the ones that do have a master's degree, there's a lot of experience, in different areas. But what I saw is there's not a lot of 911 experience. And, there is a lot of fire experience. And some of the people up north, all EMSs ran out of the fire departments usually. So, you see the fire, but as far as the 911 EMS experience, you don't see a lot of. But I've got all these electronic. If anybody wants them, I'm happy to zip them up and ship them your way or whatever. So let me know if you want to be involved with that.
Right, and I would say, if anybody wants to see the resume of what they are, you just let Rick know and he'll send it to you.
Yep.
And if anybody wants to sit in on the interview, just let me know.
And I'll coordinate with the mayor's office with the mayor, just
Right.
when he's got time, because I'd like, obviously, for him to.
So when you go to do the Zoom calls, are you gonna talk to everyone that sent an application, or are you gonna
No.
hone it down to?
Yeah, probably
5,
4,
6.
maybe 5.
Okay.
Because a couple of these, even one of them has a master's, but it's in something completely separate, and they don't have any EMS experience. So you can have a master's in whatever, but if you don't know EMS, it's really not of value. So I would say probably 4 or 5.
And all of them are out of town?
Yes, there's not any in Middle Tennessee.
Not any in Middle Tennessee?
No, sir, we
So it's
got-
out of state?
Yes, Kingston, Ohio, Sylacauga, Alabama.
Well, you applied.
I'm in Middle Tennessee.
He doesn't count. He doesn't count.
Yeah, well, I was,
He didn't move it.
He doesn't count. He knows,
He don't
um,
No need for a Zoom call either. I'm good.
yeah, we'll do face
Yeah,
to
I
face
wanna
with
do
him.
a Zoom call.
New Bern, North Carolina, Merrimack, New Hampshire. We do have another EMS employee here that has applied as well, so he's local.
good.
Winchester, Nevada. There is a Clarksville, Tennessee, but he does not have any EMS experience. Right now, he's working as an unarmed security officer, and he's got a GED. So,
Oh, how did people get a hold of it out so far?
well, Indeed is on the internet is a jobs board,
Okay,
and so we put it up so it's
and it went
blast
out,
out.
okay.
It
So
will be-
There's probably some apps or some programs that monitors that people can,
Well, they go in and search for, EMS director, assistant director, whatever, and it'll bring them up, and you can hone in how close or far. And if you don't set a mile range of around where you are, it'll bring up everything. So,
okay.
and then EMS Tennessee, I got a few from EMS Tennessee on Facebook page.
Well, when you're ready, you call the mayor, call me, and then we'll go from there. If anybody wants to sit in on an interview, just let me know. Okay.
So, again, maybe once they'll narrow it down to about 4 or 5, maybe I'll send the 4 or 5 CVs or resumes out.
Sure, there you
to
go. That'd be
guys.
fine.
And then that way you can look and see kind of who has this.
Yeah, just send it to the ones that want it. If you want it, you won't send it to everybody?
I'll send it to the commissioners, on the committee.
Okay, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
But,
I'm sorry, is there any, we have another meeting.
In
that we
here?
need to go to. Is it in here? Yeah.
It can be.
It was 6:30, 9 minutes ago.
And, is that what he said?
Is it top secret?
Prudence and nominating,
Oh, it's in the email.
Oh,
supposed to be at 6:30.
Now,
anything else?
this is the policy that we proposed to you guys and sent out. This is the, we've talked about it with our crews. We're starting to collect data, when we're going out now. But we've done nothing with it. We've just started trying to get them in the habit of collecting it. But what we're trying to do is, again, curb public behavior so we're not abused.
Right.
And if we are, then we feel like that they should compensate us.
How big is the policy? Is it 10 pages?
No,
3
it's
pages?
probably 2 pages, yeah.
Yeah,
Want
well,
us to resend it back?
send that out to everybody too. And
Okay.
if those that want to go through it can go through it.
Okay, all right. All right, well, then we'll hold off another month until we meet,
Yeah.
you guys, bless it or not. That'll give the other situation time to either ignite or get diffused.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything's gonna ignite, but,
That's a fire meeting, I don't know.
oh,
Not on my watch.
But Stacy, if you would like us to join the conversation, we'd be happy to do it. Whenever, if ever, you know.
Baker means.
anything else, Rick?
No, sir, that's all I have right now.
So we'll be looking for this, you to email us this policy and the resumes when we get it down to 4.
We'll go ahead and send this out to you so you can be looking
Okay.
at it.
Go
We'll
get
get, when
some
I narrow it down
policy.
to like
There you
4 or
go.
5.
I'd like to have that before Thursday. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to go
Yeah.
with Stacy. Okay, then I'd entertain a motion that
After
we.
you've thought about it, if you need us to come, I'll be happy to join you.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think
If
not
I
yet.
need you, I'll call you.
You do it.
on the phone.
You do it.
If there are no more questions then, for the sake of efficiency, I'd entertain a motion to accept Rick's report.
I make a motion to accept.
Second, Commissioner Wilson, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Just one more comment. I'm gonna try my best to get us back on track at 5 o'clock, 4th Monday next week, and maybe we stay there the rest of the year.
Yes,
So if we could, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Stacy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right, county commission meeting's next.